What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TWA Motorsports, and today we are back on the Trans Am. So if you guys couldn't tell by the thumbnail, yes, we are back on the Trans Am. I know it has been a long time coming, but well, I've just had too many other things going on, vacations and basketball with kids and just life in general. And so I'm ready to get going on this thing. It's been a long time coming, like I said. But today we are going to try to get the motor. In fact, I'm not going to say we're going to try. We are going to get the motor into place. Now, I still have the leaky rack here. You can see it is still leaking. I can replace that with the motor in the car, so I'm not as concerned about that right now. But what we need to do before the motor goes in is we need to drill a hole somewhere about right in here, and I'll show you from the inside once I get in there. Now, the reason we need to do that is we are going to be installing, obviously, wiring from the line lock. I want it to be nice and close to the console up here. And we also have a wideband, and I'll show you that in just one second. But we could put it through the factory area, but I'll show you the end on the wideband I'm using. It is just too big, and I don't want all that wire going on that side. I'd like to have, I don't want to route all this stuff to the other side. So we're going to drill a hole, and obviously we're going to have to get a grommet to put into that hole. But let's put it down and get the panel out of the way. Probably going to have to move that inner panel here, move the carpet out of the way in order to get enough room. But the wideband that I'm using is a PLX, and of course, like always, guys, I will list it in the description down below. But you can see, look at that plug. It is a monster. So we're going to have a pretty good size hole. I'm going to be using just a stepped drill bit, and we're going to go all the way to the top on that. And I've seen this from a couple other people that have used this, like when they put a turbo and stuff in, which down the road, like I said, I'd like to do a turbo, but to run like vacuum lines and the boost gauge and all that, they drill a hole up there. So like I said, let's get this thing dropped down and get that carpet out of the way and get a hole drilled. Now, I didn't drop this thing down all the way. In order to get to the area that we want to basically drill, we need to take out this piece of plastic and then fold the carpet back. So there are 4 screws here. Now, if your battery's not hooked up like mine is, it's kind of tricky to get to this one right here. What I used was just a screwdriver that is bent in order to get into some spots like that. But there's 4 along this, and then there's 1 actually in the dead pedal, which I'll get some light up here in just a minute. But don't forget this one in the dead pedal, and then you can pull this out of the way. So now that I have the carpet out of the way and kind of a light in here, you guys can see the very bottom bolt for your steering column. We're going to go directly to the left of that. So there's a dead area right there, and just trust me, you'll be able to see it once I get the hole drilled. I'll put the camera up in there. Let's see if you can get you a little closer to show you what I'm talking about. But this area right to the left of that bottom bolt for the steering column is where I'm going to be drilling. Now, you can take the rubber mat out if you'd like. It's just a huge undertaking in order to get it out of the way. You'd have to get a majority of the carpet out. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to drill through that. So that is where the hole is going to be. You'll see it in just one second. So this is what it looks like from the outside with the hole drilled, and I'll show you here on the inside in just a second. You want to make sure that you take a file and file off all the obviously file this down so it's not jagged, and then you're going to have to vacuum this out. But we're going to get a rubber grommet and stick into place. I'm also going to go ahead and off camera route some wires into there. The wire off of my I don't even know what this is called now. I'm losing my mind. Oh, my line lock. Sorry. We're going to go ahead and route the line lock wire into place. I'm going to probably go ahead and thread the connection for the wideband into place and get it just dangling down here below. Let me show you the inside here so you guys can see where actually I drilled it, and it is right above. Let me turn the light off so you can see better. Right there above the bottom of the floor pan and to the left, like I said, of that bolt. Let me try to get it a little closer. There you can see what I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead, like I said, and put the grommet into place, route the wires in that I need routed, and I won't show you guys that because frankly that's boring. You know where I drilled it. And then we'll hopefully be ready to put the fuel lines in and get the motor started. Now this is what it looks like with the grommet in place, and I just measured that hole and got a grommet to match the hole that I drilled. Just depending on what you're putting through there is depending on what size of grommet you need, but you definitely want one That way none of the wires rub up against that raw metal. But now that we've got that in place, let's go grab the fuel lines, try to put them up into place. I'm going to cap both ends of them, and you'll see down the road why. But I think, yeah, I'm going to go grab the fuel lines, like I said, and we're going to put those up into place. Just because I think I can probably sneak them around the motor, but we might as well go ahead and put them up into place because they're long and cumbersome. So now I have the fuel line in place. I did go ahead and clean it off really well. It was kind of gross and dusty just from the environment of the car, and then obviously this has been sitting around for a while. So make sure you locate your bolts that thread this into place, and go ahead and I zip tied up this brake line, so I'm gonna have to cut those zip ties because the brake line does snap into the back side of the fuel line. But other than that, we should be good to go. I'm just gonna put it into place, and then we'll move on to the exciting part, which is the motor. Now that I got this into place, I'm going to go ahead and tighten majority of these up. I'm not going to tighten this very back one, but all the ones from here forward, I'm going to go ahead and tighten up. Well, I have the fuel lines all into place. Everything's tightened down. I didn't show you guys this one. I did tighten this one down. There's a stud that helps hold the heat shield on, so this one definitely needs to go. But the new brake line, obviously I just bent from here up, but it was touching, and so I wanted to wrap that. So I just wrapped it a little bit in a couple spots where I thought it was going to touch. Probably not going to cause any issues, but it just makes me feel better. So I did wrap that. These are all tight. Like I said, I didn't tighten the back one, and you'll see why down the road. But I'm glad that I put these in, because to maneuver these behind the brake lines, I don't know that I could have done this with the engine in place. I probably could have, but it would have been way more of a job. So we are ready, guys. I'm going to set this thing down. We're going to get the cherry picker set up, and we're going to get this engine in. Now, before I get this thing on the engine stand, we obviously need to put on our motor mounts. Now, these pretty much going back in place the exact same way they came off. I will tell you from the looks of things, and we may have to adjust some stuff, but you'll notice that, if I can get one of these started, there's two pieces on that side. Let me show you the other one. So you can see these two ridges. There's one on the bottom side. So that is your bottom. The two ridges is the top. The one ridge is the bottom. So if you forgot which way they go on, that is the way they go on. I'm going to go ahead and put these on both sides, and then we'll talk about the torque specs here in just a second. Now, one of the things you guys may not have noticed is that the studs actually go on the driver's side. So the other one is just a bolt. These have studs to put the heat shield on. So make sure that you get those on the right side. And my alignment's a little off on this as far as these two pieces of metal lining up, but once it goes in there, it seems to be doing fine. So I'm not going to concern myself much with that, because I'm not going to have any basically it's not going to cause any problems. But one thing I completely forgot I had was I bought this the other day, an impact, and oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't been using this. So stupid. I could have had this probably done an hour ago. So much easier. You guys got to pick one of these up. Just a DeWalt 20 volt. I'll list this in the description below, but I got this the other day. It is awesome. So 37 foot-pounds is what the engine mount, the bolts and studs to the block go to. So we're going to torque these down real quick, all four of them, or 4 on each side, so 8 total. And then we're going to get this thing strapped up to the engine hoist and let the car down. We'll see what we can get done. one thing I noticed, guys, is if you're wanting to reuse your factory piece here, ain't happening. So you could probably notch this and put it on there, or maybe even bend it. But I don't think I'm going to concern myself with it. I might grab me some 10 snips and snip that out just so I can put it into place. But it does not go back on with these new bolts. You know, the other ones were rivets, so it's set nice and flush. But I might just cut that out real quick. It won't take me but a second. Cut that out before I get this all hooked up to the engine hoist. And I just took a pair of 10 snips and just cut 2 V's out there, and it seems to be working perfectly fine. So put these two 10 millimeters back on, and torque settings really don't matter on these guys because you know, they're not really holding anything except this plate. So just get them snug, and like I said, we'll get it hooked up to the engine hoist. Now the last thing we need to do before we put this on the engine hoist, I know I keep saying I'm going to put it on the engine hoist, we're going to be doing this, is we have to put the plate that holds it on. So I listed this in a couple of videos went back when I actually took this motor out. It's really handy for putting engines in and out of the top of one of these LS cars. If you don't have one, you need to get one. I'll list it in the description as well. And I'm just using stock bolts, and you notice my towels are still in there. I just don't want a bunch of junk falling in there. I can take those out once I get the motor in the car, but once we get this thing on, then we will get it on the engine hoist. I promise. I promise you. The next part you see, we'll have it on the cherry picker. Now let's talk about what the goal is here. The goal is to get this engine lifted, right, off this, into the car without scratching the valve covers. So if I do, I do. I'm gonna try not to. Shouldn't hit anything, but you know how that works. So let's get this thing lifted up, slid over in front of the car, and in. Well, we have the engine dangling in the car. I don't know why I didn't show you. I didn't turn the camera on while I was pushing it in here, but it's relatively close to the hood, so you want to make sure that you're really careful while you're lowering it down, obviously. And I'm just going a little bit at a time. Try not to hit any of my new paint, which it's almost inevitable that you're going to scratch it. You know, it just is what it is. You just got to be careful. I'm trying to do this by myself. Generally, 2 people would help, but I don't have 2 people. So my son helped me just for a second, and then he ran off. So anyway, we're just going to lower it a little bit at a time, kind of go back and forth until we can get the engine mounts at least lined up, and we'll go ahead and push a couple of those bolts through. Well, I scratched the valve cover, and you see it back there. It's in the very back. Chances are you're not even going to see it, and it's going to be covered by the coil packs, so not a huge deal. But I think we've got it into place. We may have to lift it just a little bit in order to get the bolts in, but I'm going to go ahead and try to slide a couple of the bolts in and see where we're at. You guys probably didn't see that, but that thing slid through perfect. Now, the other side, you know, a lot of people have issues with this, so we'll see about this other side. It looks like it's not quite lined up, but hopefully it'll go in just as easy. Well, like I said, that other one went in really easy, so you know that this one's going to be a pain. Looks like the front's lined up. I have to let it down just a little bit. Now I've got an old screwdriver I'm going to try to put into place in the front. Maybe line some stuff up, or maybe at least help while I'm trying to push that through the backside. We will see. Not looking good, guys. Man, it is tearing up. Well, guys, I am fighting this one on this other side. It is not wanting to go in or out. I got it in almost all the way. It's not lining up. So what I've done is I've loosened up the motor mounts. I'm going to go ahead and try to pull it out, put it in from the back like it's supposed to go. I got it almost all the way in from the front, but just didn't like the way it looked. So I'm going to, like I said, I've undone the motor mounts. I'm going to try to pull this out, put it in from the other side. Well, guys, as you can see, I got it in. I didn't show you all of it, probably because I was not very happy, and things don't always go perfect here. I know it seems like that on video, but they don't always. And what I had to do was I loosened up all the motor mounts, and then I had to put a pry bar in between the stand here and the actual mount itself. Once I did that, I was able to push it through. It actually wasn't too big of a deal. It just took a while to figure out what was going on. Sorry, I'm out of breath. These little gold pieces set on that ridge. Let me get it a little closer so you can see what I'm talking about. You see that little gold piece? That was actually not sitting on that ridge. In the back, it was on the outside. So once I got that in the middle, everything lined up just fine. So not as hard as I made it. Probably should have taken the motor mounts loose to begin with instead of trying to force it. But the motor is in. That is a good start. I'm going to lift it up. And actually, before I lift it up, I think I'm going to take that valley cover off and go ahead and cover this back up, because I think I'm finished for now. Next step, actually, we will be probably putting the flywheel on, maybe some miscellaneous stuff here and there, prepping for the water pump, all the other stuff that goes in. But let's lift this thing up and take a look at the bottom side. Well, while we're down here and the motor's in the car, I figured why not go ahead and put the flywheel into place. Wouldn't be a bad idea, right? Now, generally I like to use a little bit of thread lock on these. I'm going to just set it into place for now, and then we'll pull them back out and put a little thread locker on them, and then we will go ahead and torque them down. Now I'm just going to use a little bit of blue thread lock. You don't even necessarily have to do this, but I don't know, these things, I've never had any come loose, but man, it would sure be a pain if they did. I don't think that it would with 6 of them, but you never know. So I'm just putting a little bit on each one. We're going to go ahead and torque these, and they get torqued to 74 foot-pounds. Now, we'll see if we can do this without putting the flywheel locking tool into place, and it looks like we're not going to be able to. Nope. Well, let me go grab my flywheel locking tool. What a pain. I was really hoping to do that without having to put this in. But now that I got the thread locker on it, I want to go ahead and get them tightened down. That's another tool that comes in really handy, so I'll list that in the description as well. But 74 foot-pounds is what we're going to, and I go in a crisscross pattern, kind of like you're putting on a wheel. And to be honest with you, I think I'm going to leave that there for now because I'm going to need it in place when I do a few other things. So let's, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Well, guys, I think we are finished up for today. I am disgusting dirty. I'm sweaty. I don't know why, but there's freaking flies everywhere today. Of course, I live in the country. There's a bunch of cows. When there's cows, there's flies. But like I said, I think we're going to wrap it up. We did get the motor into place, which is exciting. That is what we ultimately wanted to get accomplished today. So that did get accomplished. We got the fuel lines into place. We got that hole drilled. We got our line ran into the car. Now I've just got it tied up there for now. I didn't solder it yet. I will probably show you guys that later down the road when we get, once the motor's started, then we'll start the wiring process of the things that we put in, like the wideband and the line lock and whatnot. But hopefully you guys are enjoying this stuff. I know it's been a long time on the Trans Am. I'm going to try to be, I'm going to try to work on it more. Okay, so it's going to get finished. I promise you that. But if you do like this video, guys, please smash that thumbs up button. If you're not subscribed, go down and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell icon. That way you're notified every time we drop a new video. And, well, stay tuned to see what we work on next.